Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into something deeply profound. We're looking at a reality of the human experience that honestly gets so often misunderstood. We're going to be exploring the core concepts from Alondra Olivo's book, Endemoniados. Now, this is a work that tackles the intense reality of spiritual and emotional distress. But, rather than approaching this complex topic with sensationalism, which happens a lot, Olivo grounds her message in profound empathy. So we're going to unpack the essential teachings of her work today, really focusing on how we identify, understand, and ultimately support those who are going through some of the absolute darkest moments of their lives. So here's a question for you. How many people suffer in silence? It's a heavy question, right? But it hits on a universal truth that Olivo highlights right away in her work. There are so many individuals carrying these huge, hidden burdens. They're fighting battles that literally no one else can see. Maybe they don't know how to ask for help, or perhaps they're just too afraid of how others might react. And honestly, this silent suffering is the very catalyst for the entire conversation we're having today. Section 1, the invisible battles. Okay, let's dive into this and focus on the hidden nature of these personal struggles. To really help someone, we first have to recognize that the surface almost never tells the whole story. Alondra Olivo puts it absolutely perfectly. She says, behind many situations are people who need understanding, help, and guidance. It's so easy to just look at a difficult situation, or maybe someone exhibiting some distressing behavior, and hyper-focus on the problem itself. But Olivo's primary motivation for writing this book is to remind us that behind every complex spiritual or emotional manifestation, there's a real human being, a human being who doesn't need our quick judgment. What they desperately need is our understanding and our guidance. And that brings us to the ultimate goal. Recognizing spiritual or emotional pain isn't about labeling somebody, and it's definitely not about isolating them. The goal here is to open a conversation. It's about stepping out of our own comfort zones to provide help using 3 non-negotiable pillars: love, respect, and responsibility. It's essentially a call to action, right? A call to pull people out of their silent suffering through responsible, caring dialogue. Section 2. Understanding instead of fear. Now, society often defaults to a really harmful reaction when faced with spiritual distress, and that's rejection and fear. When people don't understand something, they tend to push it away or just judge it super quickly. But Olivo mandates a completely different approach. We've got to actively replace our fear with patience, and we have to replace those quick judgments with profound love and wisdom. A person facing these invisible battles should literally never be treated with rejection. Section 3, the power of discernment. What's really interesting about this next concept is how it breaks down complex suffering. Alondra stresses that not all struggles are identical. For example, genuine spiritual oppression requires spiritual liberation, while emotional problems or physical illnesses require entirely different kinds of support. We absolutely cannot apply a one-size-fits-all solution to human suffering. Treating these different categories requires really careful differentiation. Assuming every single issue is purely spiritual can be just as damaging as assuming every issue is purely physical. We have to look closer. Let's break that down even further. A person could be genuinely seeking spiritual answers, or they might be hurting inside emotionally, or they could be facing an actual physical illness. The danger here lies in quick judgments, because a person could be dealing with any one of these, or even a combination of them. It's like a giant puzzle. If we don't look deeply into each person's unique situation, we risk offering the totally wrong kind of help. So this is exactly where discernment comes in. By definition, discernment is the ability to understand and differentiate every unique case to avoid immediate judgment and offer true compassion. In the context of Olivo's work, it's the essential bridge between merely seeing a problem and actually providing the correct, effective help a person needs to heal. It's analytical, for sure, but it is deeply, deeply rooted in compassion. Section 4, How to Extend a Hand. Let's look at the practical side of this. Let's move to this and see how this builds sequentially. When you've used discernment and you're actually ready to take action, Olivo outlines 3 practical steps. First up, prayer. This establishes a strong spiritual foundation of support. Second, accompaniment, literally walking alongside the person so they aren't fighting their battle alone. And third, spiritual support, providing specific guidance based on their unique situation. It's a really comprehensive, active approach to healing. The ultimate undeniable mandate of Olivo's message is actually pretty simple. Nobody should be ignored. We all must take responsibility to actively listen and seek the truth with wisdom. I mean, ignoring the pain of others is simply not an option if we want to foster a healthy, supportive community. We just can't look the other way. The crucial point is summarized beautifully in this direct quote from the author. She says, "The restoration of a person can begin when someone decides to extend their hand and offer help." That is the immediate, life-changing impact of compassionate intervention right there. You don't have to have all the answers right away. Restoration doesn't start when the problem is totally solved. It starts the very second you decide to reach out your hand. Now, for those of you who want to deeply explore these teachings, all of these concepts are drawn directly from the book Endemoniados by Alondra Olivo, which you can easily find on Amazon. It is an absolutely essential resource if you're looking to gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of spiritual struggle and human suffering. So, I want to leave you with this final thought to reflect on today. Based on what we've unpacked, the need to move past fear, the necessity of differentiating struggles, and the power of simply walking alongside someone, how can you practice better discernment and active listening in your own community? These invisible battles are happening all around us. The question is, will you be the one to extend a hand? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really encourage you to take these lessons of empathy and support out into the world.